I heard someone speaking through a megaphone just now, so we missed that as if on cue here. We have Pico in front of the Icon 1616 building down here. We have orange and charcoal gray as the first cars. We have some steamrollers in front of Chip City. Hi. So I'm sending a postcard to one of the people. There's a few people I really liked in Turkey Creek Forest, but one person stood out as sort of not playing into things too much. It's hard to explain. But anyway, I do think my mom and aunt were slightly targeted. If you have a painted driveway like green or red or yellow or whatever, you too could be a target. So I would go plain. Even though you should be able to live how you want to, but how much do you love the red driveway? How much do you love the hunter green driveway? You know what I mean? So LeVain put up these steamrollers in front of Chip City as a little, do you think it's a little joke? Like an intimidation joke? Anderson E366 and so on, E367 and so forth. So I'm gonna mail this to, you know, someone who every once in a blue moon, we're talking like once every 2 years. I don't want to bother her. It's really so I don't want to bother this person. She's, you know, like we'll say 97. There's the dog walker we always see. I don't want to bother people in general, and especially when they're older. People always think that people are calling for money. And even if you're desperately in need, or like me, even if I were desperately in need and worried about my future, I still don't want to bother people because of various reasons. But there are, you know, anyway, because people have to make that assumption. Because if things don't work out for you, and they don't, even for really high class, awesome people, dare I use the word class, you know, but even being steamrolled by LeVain cookie. So Chip City just came in just weeks before, maybe a month and a half, but I would say weeks before LeVain Cookie came in, LeVain steamrolling, and they're going to blacktop and steamroll Chip City. But even if you're like this totally awesome person, and say you experience something really bizarre and you actually feel, say, blackballed, and it's like, I have to hustle for work in a certain way. What I want is a nice, secure situation. I'd love to have a partner, a husband, whatever. Illinois, hanging out here at Cannabis, CBD Kratom. It smells like a tanning salon in there, which could be a metaphor. A tanning salon is making someone darker, which is also metaphor for being targeted. So for many, many years, certain types of people have felt targeted in a certain way. Target has changed a lot. We have a lot of people who aren't necessarily darker, who are targeted, but anyway, and they're targeted in different ways. So it gets really confusing as to what's going on in the world. But anyway, I don't like to bother people, and I don't want them thinking that I'm, you know, a certain type of person. And you could be like someone whose, you know, resume outdoes everyone else and your entire family, extended family, and then some, and you can't find the work for whatever reason. I was heavily targeted. I was made to believe I'd be killed, murdered in my apartment the 4th Monday of January 2011. And if that weren't enough, my mom and aunt's phone lines were severed in Jacksonville, Florida. I was up here in Philly, just a couple, like about 4 or 5 blocks south of this Rittenhouse Square. But in Jacksonville, Florida, my mom and aunt's phone lines were severed, so that when I called, I heard doo-doo-doo, we're sorry, the phone number you're trying to reach has been disconnected. And if that weren't enough, it was like the games commenced. All right, we magically had 2 cars come up here and a truck over here, over here. So, go this way. It smells like hamburger meat back here. I'm a vegetarian, so anyway, if that weren't enough, the games commenced, and I've been harassed as if I exposed the beef industry, the dairy industry, and the tobacco industry, and God knows, potentially the political industry, the diet industry in general, potentially the police industry, if there's an industry to it, potentially the medical industry, if there's an industry to it. I was tortured so badly, you think I exposed the entire beehive hornet's nest of the worst case of white supremacy at the highest level. And you would say, really? I don't think so. I sound way better than I should. But it's taken me 14 years to get to this point. And I do know, and I will say, that there are people out there who remain hidden. They will never show their faces to you people who are part of the hive. They will never, ever be seen, because they are protected by the highest calling and order of the land, above the matrix. These people don't even do anything wrong. They have to watch all the idiots who think they're above the matrix but aren't treat people badly. So anyway, a little bit chilly this morning, and I didn't expect to see the steamroller. The 3 or 4 steamrollers. There are 3 large steamrollers and then one that had like 2 small rollers on it, plus the blacktop machine of tar and feathers, which is kind of what, you might as well. I felt like I was tarred and feathered. I felt like I was stoned. I was humiliated to death, exploited to death. It was bizarre how immature, and this will lead to video number 2, how immature and, dare I say, for lack of a better word, retarded and over the top people were. I can't think of a better word that's still in the nice range. Most people don't use that word, retarded, but that's like the best word. It's like in the absurd realm of, are you kidding me? What the H is wrong with these people? And how did they learn their tactics? And who's helping them feel superior when they're inferior, Heather, Jen, Keith? So anyway, we'll just walk west here on the south side of Walnut Street between 18th and 19th. I'll start up the next video with what is maturity versus immaturity versus people who are they're really being condescending, but they think you can't have an adult conversation in the way they want to have an adult conversation. If you were to call them out, they don't want to have that adult conversation. You see what I mean? So when is it, what is maturity versus immaturity and condescension of people who seem mature, and they're even in powerful positions, dentists, doctors, and so forth and so on. And they love it when you feel uncomfortable in their presence. That's actually grooming, like a pedophile would do, or a rapist. So all those doctors out there who think they're playing God and they're all that in a bag of chips, or they believe they're all that in a bag of chips, you're really just groomers. And you belong to the rapist group. And they often keep their money up with them. So they can only get so far because there are people above them making sure they are oppressed as well. And they have to stick with their stupid job. And they're tired of showing up and dealing with a stupid public. You know what I mean? Oh God, we have another fat person showing up. We have to have a discussion about when the last time was they saw a doctor. So we're winding down here at 8:43. I'll wait till about 9 minutes in to start my next discussion.